Yes, it's me again. I bet you were wondering, what's a great thing to do today? I've got just the thing for you. So in the last short, we talked about corporations. And the one before that, we talked about sole proprietorships and stuff like that, partnerships. In this one, we're going to talk about a couple of my favourites. What would they be, I wonder? Cooperatives and not-for-profits. Let's start with cooperatives, shall we, Steve? Yes, we shall. What's a cooperative? Well, quite simply, a cooperative is something that is a business owned by, like, its customers. So they get to be able to shop there, and as members, they possibly get deals, and they get to decide potentially the direction that the organization goes, and so on. So cooperatives are a really neat way of getting people who are your customers involved in your business. Cooperatives have a couple of different kinds of members. There are producer members and there are consumer members. Generally speaking, the producer members come together, run the company, make all of this stuff, well, bring all of the stuff in, or whatever it is that they're going to be selling, whilst the consumer members are the ones that buy all that stuff. If they're done properly, good, well-run cooperatives can be very successful both for the producer members because they can increase profits, and for consumer members because they can decrease the costs associated with buying stuff. So it's a win-win. Yay, we like those. There are various different kinds of cooperatives. They can be financial, for example, like the Case Populaire that we have here in Canada. They could be retail cooperatives so that they could be selling to their consumer members. They could be service cooperatives, which provide services rather than goods to their members. For example, water or electricity or municipal services and so on. There can also be things like worker cooperatives. You might find examples of worker cooperatives, for example, in the arts. Not-for-profits exist to provide some kind of a good or service without a financial gain. What does that mean? It means they can still charge for things, but any surplus that they get in goes straight back into improving the services or the goods or whatever of that organization. So there are 5 different sectors that we have to worry about. We don't actually have to worry about them, but there are definitely 5 different sectors. There's science, religion, charities, educational, and literary. I can't say literary. Literary sectors. Each one of those sectors can have multiple not-for-profits in it, like universities or different charities, for example, or different scientific organizations that run on a not-for-profit basis. And they have to adhere to specific kinds of laws and regulations in order for them to maintain their not-for-profit status. While we're here, let's do franchises, because franchises are fun too. So what's a franchise? Well, quite simply, a franchise is when you have a large umbrella type organization that sells the opportunity or the ability to different people or different smaller organizations to operate under their name, and they provide all of the different, for example, signage or materials or food or whatever that is associated with that name. If you look around, an awful lot of the services like McDonald's and Tim Hortons and Burger King and so on, these are all franchises. The name is owned by the company and all of the rest of the stuff is associated with the company, but the individual restaurants, they belong to franchisees. And the franchisee, in return for being able to use that name and the materials and the food that they sell and so on, has to adhere to certain standards that are required by the franchisor. Things like the cleanliness, or things like how much stock you need to have in hand, or what kind of stock you can sell and what you can't sell, and so on. Franchises are an enormously successful way of doing things because they allow large umbrella organizations to exist at the same time as enabling smaller companies. Maybe they just run one restaurant, maybe they run a few, to exist to provide the services and the goods to the general public. It's kind of neat. I made a little video. You can see the little video. All right, what have we done? I did more than I said I was going to do for this one. I do apologize. We added franchises onto cooperatives and not-for-profits because we could. And so that's pretty much at the end of this week's stuff about what a business is. 3 little shorts and so on, and I hope you enjoyed them. We'll do some more for next week.